Hello, my name is Colin Greatwood, and I'm here today to show you how to utilize the CI terminal interface of the CPX electric terminal in order to enable and disable DHCP. You can see in my bottom left corner that I have one single CPX module, the CPX FB36. It's powered on via the bottom black cable, and I have connected to that CPX FB36 by both the first Ethernet port on the top, X1, and the user programming port via the standard Festo cable to USB. Now the first thing I'll do is I'll open Festo Maintenance Tool. I'll now establish an online connection to the valve terminal through my USB adapter, which I know to be COM4. You can verify this by going to Device Manager, expanding the ports you have available for your computer. One of them should be labeled Festo CPX USB. This might require updating using the driver that's available at festo.com. Mine is up to date, so I can close Device Manager. I know that I'm using COM4, and I'll press Next. I've now established an online connection via the USB connector. By selecting the Field Bus module FB36, going to Properties, I can verify via the parameter startup that I currently have a static IP address set 192.168.200.10, subnet mask of 255.255.255.0, and I am not using DHCP as indicated by the parameter startup. I'll now go to the web server. Here's the web server of the CPX FB36 module. Under the CPX menu, click CI. And first I'll confirm that DHCP is disabled by typing in capital P 0.7, and then I'll press Enter or Execute. This will read the current DHCP enabled disable state. You will get a warning. You can click I'm an expert and go away. Notice the response is P0.7 equals 0. That indicates that it's disabled, and that matches our property from Festo Maintenance Tool, that DHCP is disabled. Now from the CI terminal, I'll type in the same command, P0.7, but this time instead of reading, I'll press equals 1. This will write a state of true to DHCP, and I will lose connection on the web server with the static IP address. You see the OK response, but notice I'm no longer able to click around, go to any menus. So for a moment, I will disable that, go back to Festo Maintenance Tool, and we will verify that DHCP was enabled. Since I'm connected via the USB COM port, my connection is still active. I'll right-click on the communication module, go to Properties, and now you can see that my startup parameter has changed from Save Static IP Address to DHCP. Now I'll show you how to disable DHCP. This is a little different than enabling DHCP from the CI terminal. This will require setting a static IP address for the static IP mode after DHCP is disabled. So first thing I'll do is log into Festo Maintenance Tool and show you what I currently have. If I go online, performs a detection. You can see I'm still working with my FB36 module only. And that module is set up for static IP address 192.168.4.10 with a gateway of .4.1. And you can see it's active down here. I'll set up this module for via DHCP, so now it'll be ready for DHCP addressing. Click Apply and OK. I'll confirm that that setting was taken. Great. And if I go online, that IP address no longer works. It's waiting to be assigned a DHCP address. So I'll start this tool. This is a random DHCP server tool called TFTPD64. You can hear more about that in the attached video in the description. Now, after installing this tool, I will go to the bottom of the screen and click Settings. I need to set up my DHCP server. So the IP pool start address will be 192.168.4.100. And I'm going to say that I have a size of pool of 5. This is saying that 1.100 will be my first address, and I can address up to 5 devices, 100, 101, 2, 3, and 4. And this is how long that device will have that DHCP assigned address. Now, I only have one CPX module, so I'm only expecting one of those 5 addresses to be assigned, so it should be .4.100. I have also defined the same router as what I was using for my static IP address of .4.1. And that's it. That's all the settings I need. Notice that I already have my local Ethernet adapter on my PC set up for the static IP address of .4.1, so of the gateway. I'll confirm that real quick. And you can see that my static IP address, IPv4 address, is .4.1 on the same subnet with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. Great. So now I'll minimize my DHCP server setup for a moment. And I'll come back to my field device tool here. At this point, with the DHCP server running, I will power cycle the device. Wait about 10 seconds for the device to fully power off. You see I've lost connection here. Now I'll turn the device back on. And you can see that I'm reconnected. Now look, we'll verify that the address that's been assigned to the CPX FB36 module via the DHCP server is the live address, IP address .4.100, even though in the setup parameters I have .4.10 set up. So to confirm this, one other way, I'll go to the web server at 192.168.4.100. And you can see that DHCP assigned IP address works. Now that the server has been started, this is where we will start to disable DHCP if it has been previously enabled. The first thing that we'll need to do is log in to the web server and go to the CPX menu and click CI. This will start the CI terminal. From the CI terminal, you first need to assign a static IP address. I know that we currently have an IP address, but this is a DHCP assigned address and will not be retained after DHCP is disabled. So you have to send a static IP address. This will be preloaded into this position here for IP address, IP mask, and IP address gateway, but will not show as the effective or current IP address down here on the bottom half for what's read back from the device. I'll start by displaying the current IP address, subnet mask, and gateway of the device. This makes use of the P function P0.11 through 22. We'll type these in one at a time. You will get this warning the first time that you start executing a CI command. You can acknowledge and let it go away. Now it'll read back the current IP address by octet. Notice that it's reading back the static IP address written, and we saw that in FMT, but not the current DHCP server address. We'll continue with the subnet mask. And now the gateway. And there you have it. I'll put those side by side. So you can see P0.11 through 14 matches this upper IP address, not the active DHCP address. And the subnet mask and gateway also match this upper IP mask and IP address gateway, not the lower. They just happen to be the same right now. So instead of reading them, I will now set them to exactly what I want. Now I'll change that preloaded static IP address 4th octet value from 10 to 72. Just a random number here. Since the subnet mask and gateway are already preloaded, I don't need to do that, but I'll quickly do that just to show how it's done. Notice after each writing command that I get an OK appended to the end of the written command. That's the only response you'll get. Now before I disable DHCP, I will go back to FMT, refresh my parameters here. Notice that my static IP address that's preloaded for when we disable DHCP is changed from .10 to .72. Now the last command that I will execute is I will read and then write the DHCP mode, which is at parameter 7. You can see here that the non-zero value indicates that DHCP is enabled, which matches this same startup parameter here. Now instead of reading, I will write DHCP equals false. My DHCP has been disabled. And notice I no longer am able to access the device at the .100 IP address. If I go back to Festo Maintenance Tool and refresh, you can see that my startup parameter has changed from DHCP to via saved IP address, which we had to previously load. If I type that new IP address, the static IP, into the web browser URL bar, I can now log in at .4.72, and I can confirm that DHCP is disabled from the system menu, information, and see that DHCP says disabled and IP address is .4.72, just as we said it. Thank you for your time.